This game happened in the Sun Belt, and this is a game that was supposed to be one of those more tightly contested games. At least that's what the betting market said. It's supposed to be a little bit more competitive. So the game in which I'm talking about, it's in the Sun Belt Conference. It happened down in Monroe, Louisiana. South Alabama was going on the road to take on the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. Both teams were searching for their very first Sun Belt Conference win. The line settled in at South Alabama as an 11-point favorite. For those of you that were around when we were doing preseason predictions for each individual conference, I picked South Alabama to win the Sun Belt. And the team that I thought was capable of winning the Sun Belt did indeed show up last night. South Alabama, they rolled into Louisiana Monroe, and they had zero problems against the Warhawks. The Jaguars ended up winning this game 55-7, and it was a more crushing blowout than one would expect. South Alabama was able to get its first conference win, while Louisiana Monroe, they are still searching for their first conference win, and they're going to be 0-2 and still looking for answers. But that being said, though, what happened in this specific game? How did South Alabama blow out this UL Monroe team, even though maybe it was suggested that, okay, might be a little bit more competitive in terms of the betting market. And it really barrels down to the play of Carter Bradley. Carter Bradley came out and he really proved that he was that guy. He was him in this one. He ends up with one of his better games of the season, 20 for 29, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, took really good care of the football too. 0 interceptions. For those of you that really care about QBR, I don't think it's an end-all be-all type of thing, but the QBR was 92.3 on a 100-point scale. Pretty good, and really bounced back from a difficult performance on the road as well against James Madison, where he threw 2 interceptions, cost his team the chance to come back and win in that game against James Madison. So Carter Bradley, he was the big key. And one receiver in particular really benefited from that. Colian Lacy. Colian Lacy is a name that you really need to pay attention as someone that is criminally flying under the radar. He's a true junior from Mobile, Alabama. Quietly, one of the best receivers in the Sun Belt Conference. Over 700 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns too, and we're only 6 games into the season. I'm reckoning that the South Alabama team is going to be going bowling here. This South Alabama squad, they came ready to play. They were balling out at an extraordinarily high level in this game. Coley and Lucy in particular also balled out. 7 catches, 106 yards, had a touchdown. And for him, it's just another Sunday. The last 5 games as he's played, and yeah, with the exception with the Tulane game, he's had over 100 yards receiving, and he scored in every game except that James Madison game. So besides that, Colin Lacy has been completely unguardable in this game. What else happened in this game? The Jaguars of South Alabama, they dominated in terms of both sides of the ball, just in general. The Jaguars, in particular, just to point this out, they had 32 first downs in their game against Louisiana Monroe. The Warhawks, meanwhile, they only had 13 first downs. They also took extremely good care of the football, won the turnover battle, 2 turnovers for Louisiana Monroe, while South Alabama did not turn the ball over at all. That was a big thing that cost them in that James Madison game, was the turnovers. So South Alabama took real good care of that football. Really good care. They also dominated that time possession as well. South Alabama did end up with 36 and a half minutes in the time possession, whereas the Warhawks only had 23 and a half. This was a team that took a big lead early, and they never look back. Because the Jaguars, and this is the icing on the cake, the Jaguars started fast and they finished fast too. South Alabama in the first quarter, 14-0. They ballooned that lead up to a 31-0 lead before Tyrone Howell, one of the receivers for the Warhawks, finally finds the end zone from a passing touchdown by Jaya Wright. That was what the Warhawks got on the board with. Very last play of the first half, by the way. And after that, the Warhawks never scored ever again in this one. So great win for South Alabama. One that the Jaguars needed. They're trying to chase Troy. Troy is a half game ahead, and they're kind of in that logjam for that tie in second place. Still a lot of games that are going to really distinguish what's going to happen in the Sun Belt moving forward. But this Sun Belt Conference, keep an eye on the Sun Belt Conference. This is going to be a fun conference to watch. I think this is the best group of five conference in the entire country, top to bottom. I think they're better than the American because the American lost their premium teams, and the American's just not on the same level as what we saw of them on previous years. But what's happening for both these teams moving forward? So for South Alabama, they are going to be on bye this upcoming week. They will not play this weekend, but they will pick things up the following Tuesday, October 17th. They'll be back at home. First Sun Belt Conference game at home. They'll take on Southern Miss on ESPN2. It's going to be a 7:30 kickoff game. Night game on a Tuesday night. That's just the pleasure. That's just what you get when you're in a smaller conference. You play it more random times, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. But first home game, and South Alabama, we really like their chance against Southern Miss. Southern Miss, worst team in the Sun Belt, so they could really use that to build some momentum between now and a game that's going to really define their season. That's going to be happening at the beginning of November against Troy. So we'll have a couple of games to build momentum. As for Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, they start a year at 2-0, but they are on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 3 games in a row. It does not get much easier. They're going to be on the road for the next couple of games. This Saturday, they're going to play against Texas State on the road. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff, night game out in Texas. Texas State playing some good ball too. They've actually been a pleasant surprise in the Sun Belt. UL Monroe will have their hands full on the road, and then Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern, another team playing really good football right now. 4-1 overall. Very explosive offense out there in Georgia Southern. So those next 2 games, if the Warhawks want to have any chance of going bowling, they got to find a way to win one of those 2 games, because they'll still also have Troy, who is the defending champions of the Sun Belt, and then they also have Ole Miss on the road. So if they want to have any chance, any shot of going bowling, Warhawks have to win one of their next 2 games. That's going to really define their season. If they come out of that 2-game stretch 2-5, might as well kick the can the rest of the season, because they're probably not going to go bowling. I don't see them beating Ole Miss, and even if they run the table other than that Ole Miss game, 6-6 is not always guaranteed for a group of 5 team to go bowling. That's just the nature of the beast in modern college football.